Unmute all.
I can see you guys over there on the wall. It's not working.
There we go.
Hello?
All right,
Yeah,
there
well,
we're-
projector's still on.
Okay, but I don't know about this
Yeah, projector
Facebook
on
input
still.
error.
Oh. Go back to home. You got tapped it a couple times. Turn the projector off. Shouldn't turn it off.
No?
Oh,
No.
Off before and it went back up and then the light stayed on.
That was like,
Five people.
the lights off on the projector now.
Okay.
All right.
We're good.
What, you're not, still not on Facebook?
Cindy, you pushing the wrong button.
Can you try doing it again?
I think we're live now.
I don't want to mess up the YouTube by
Probably.
doing it again. You can hit stop
Oh,
and
yeah.
then start.
Let me use, okay, try starting it again.
Okay, but you hit stop on YouTube.
No,
Yeah.
There's
done.
stuff you-
Oh,
no,
no,
it's
no,
still
no, no,
going.
no, it's still going.
so YouTube it's showing as input output error.
YouTube is?
No, no,
On Facebook,
input's
it
right.
says input
Facebook
output
is
error.
wrong. It's not working.
YouTube it says it's working.
Okay,
Turn the TVs on?
yeah. They probably will.
They'll still scream the hallway.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of chairs.
It does record to hard drive now, right?
It's supposed to be, last time
So we
Cindy
should
didn't get
be
it
able
shut
to
off, so what it
upload
did
it.
was it recorded over the top of it, so.
Hit her.
Call this meeting to order.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Fry,
Present.
Keating,
Present.
Snellings,
Present.
Bikeman, Guaraki,
Present.
Price,
Present.
Behrens,
Present.
Fromm,
Here.
8-0, we have a quorum.
We'll move on. First thing is approval of the minutes from June 12th.
Move approved minutes, regular meeting, June 12th, 2023, as written.
Second.
Okay. Any changes? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 8-0. Next up, we have public comment. Is anybody here for 5-minute public comment?
You're on the agenda. Are you also public comment?
If we don't get a letter with an organization's name and it's not done in time, but we got it in time to know she was coming, so that way she's actually on public comment.
I'm filling in as director until we have a new one.
We're learning.
Yes,
It's okay.
exactly. I'm Rachel Fry, 205 North 11th Street, Marysville, Kansas, which is now Ward 2. And I'm here tonight on behalf of Marysville Chamber Main Street. I'm serving as the president this year and, as I said, kind of filling in as the director. And wanted to just communicate with the board, let you guys know, or the council, let you guys know where we're at. And we do have an interim director coming in. Wayne Cruzy will be serving as our interim director for 6 months to get us through all of these things. So first off, we wanted to thank you. The Chamber Main Street works a lot with the city, and we wanted to extend a very heartfelt thank you to the council, to your staff, to your volunteers. You guys even have people volunteering. We received funds for Mother's Day Market and the Big Blue River Days from the city and Convention and Tourism specifically. We were able to ensure that parks and grounds were kept looking very nice when we had people coming to town. Transportation of trash barrels, something as simple as that. You guys were a huge help with that. We really appreciate that. Making sure we had electrical outlets that worked for the barbecue and Mother's Day market, assisting with traffic control, and then, as I said, a few of you were even volunteering. So we just wanted to say thank you for that. And let you know that these events we feel are very important to the city of Marysville. It not only provides entertainment for our local community, but it draws in visitors and it gives us a chance to showcase our membership our local businesses, and the amenities that you guys have worked so hard to provide for our citizens. It also boosts the economy. We have increased revenue from both of those weekends for our local shops, hotels, restaurants, and gas stations. So again, thank you very much. The next big event coming to Marysville, as you know, is Skyfest Marysville on July 8th. And that's going to be a pretty exciting day down at Lakeview Sports Complex. And Chamber Main Street has been asked to have our famous beer bin at the event. And so in front of you here, you see a drawing of what Austin and I believe Vince and JC and the Skyfest committee have come up with of where everybody's going to be down there at the Sports Center for this event. And I'm coming to you tonight to ask for permission to have a consumed alcohol permit. We are serving beer. We have the license for serving at the beer bin. Now we need your permission to allow people to drink. So as you can see here, this is the map, and maybe you have that already in front of you.
I did give it to him.
And then the yellow
It was
that is
on
the
your desk,
proposed,
it was on here.
exterior of the beer garden, if you will. So, does that make sense to everybody? I just wanted to have a visual out there so you knew what we were working with and trying to imagine what this is all gonna look like.
And what's the green?
Can she get a copy?
Here. I thought, yeah, you don't mind, Chris.
There you go.
You got extras?
Here, this is colored.
So the first page is, again, the entire map, and then the second page shows the yellow, which would be outside of the area that you could consume alcohol. And we've got a great relationship with Convention and Tourism, and they've agreed to help us set those parameters. So once you guys approve the parameters, we'll work with them closely and make sure that's set up.
You guys doing wristbands or something, Rachel?
Yes, we will be checking IDs. Anybody that looks younger than 40 will be checking IDs, and we'll have wristbands just like we do at Big Blue River Days. Absolutely.
Where's the band setting up?
This may be a better question for my friend Mandy here.
You bet. Thank you. The band, I think that's my map, right? Or map? So the trailer is going to be sitting here on the driveway, and the bulk of the people will be sitting in the diamond. So the trailer is a little higher. It is kind of on top of the hill, and then the diamond kind of sinks down. So they might see a little bit of fence, but for the most part, they're going to see the trailer, the people on the trailer.
Any other questions?
Yeah, this is hot air, this is porta potties.
Okay.
They're up there. Are those the only porta potties?
No, they have 19, I think. Wayne told me, or 17.
Yeah, there's 12.
Or 12,
12,
okay.
yeah.
They're all gonna be on the north end,
No.
clear across the parking lot?
Yeah, so because this is the vendors, so there's also a bathroom in the, here, which we're gonna be stocking. And then there's also porta potties up here where people will be dropping off. There's a drop-off parking that we're going to be, pushing out here real shortly. So they're kind of, since this one was here, if this one wasn't here, then there would be definitely more, to the west. Southwest,
Oh, I'm just making sure we can get back there.
west, no,
Oh, yeah.
on the other side.
I'm looking at it.
Okay, and then our application, I believe, is in your packet, so I just wanted to get that in front of you and see if you had any questions.
Anybody else want to see the colored one?
There you go.
Oh, you did.
Okay, hope to see you on the 8th.
Thank you.
Thank you. Who wants to make a motion?
Just normally have a number on it or anything?
No, usually they're under consent, but it didn't get here to do that, so,
Oh, I'll make a motion.
okay.
Motion for application of consumption of alcoholic beverages at the Skyfest.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
7, what?
I think it's a family event, and I don't think we need the alcohol there for it, so.
That's probably right.
Right.
Can a horse arena be used for extra parking, or how hard is that to get in? I mean,
Parking.
I thought they were gonna park and bus people in, but I
Yeah.
don't have any idea.
it's just a thought, I mean,
If you have a question, I'm more than happy to help answer.
Yeah.
I just didn't hear all of it.
Yeah.
Where are all you parking?
You bet, absolutely. So we have contacted several businesses, or organizations, including the Masons, Landau Lane, the hospital. The Berean Church we're almost there. The airport, Landau's by the airport. The Y-Rock parking lot. I feel like there's one more that I'm missing. Oh, the Legion. So we have worked with those organizations, and there will be a volunteer to assist to park in those locations. The farther ones away, for instance, like the Berean Church or Landau's to the north by the airport, then we're going to have a shuttle running in between. And like I mentioned on Rachel's handy dandy map, we do have a drop-off parking area. So the concept being that hopefully they will know we'll help them, encourage them to carpool, and someone will be able to pull in, drop their family and their people off, and the family can walk down to the event. The car can go and park somewhere and then be shuttled in. So we know that we're working on a pretty limited area location, and so we're really trying to help spread the love out to farther distances in Marysville.
So what's the old, where the old railroad hotel is at? What's that being used for?
The old railroad hotel.
The top
parking lot.
Oh, thank you for asking. I didn't know that was such a case. That's going to be the handicap parking.
I don't think they need that much handicap parking.
I think it should be opened up to the rest of the parking myself, but.
Okay, well, we're meeting at 8 o'clock tomorrow at Lakeview. I would love to have you come and talk about that. We are going to, right now, according to, I think I've told you, shared this with you before, but according to just the gentleman that works with the hot air balloons, we should expect 2,500 to 3,500 people for just that. In the last 7 days, according to the Visit Marysville Facebook page, we have had over 18,000 people interested or involved engagements with our posts. Now, granted, that doesn't mean there's been 18,000 individual people that have interacted with our posts. But that's a lot of people. I think that maybe we will need all of that handicap parking. But again, I'd love to talk to you more about it and have a conversation tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Anybody is welcome, actually.
So when you drop people off, are they going to basically walk down the road?
Right,
to get
correct.
down
Mm-hmm.
there? Is it, I haven't been to Lakeview in a little while, is it pretty smooth?
It's gravel.
Particularly good.
Gravel.
It's gravel, and
If only somebody would have brought to council 2 years ago, we have a sidewalk to get down there. Oh, I did.
Austin did mention that when we were there last time.
I don't know if there's any way we can, I'm thinking about the handicap and even getting from that lot to down
Yep.
below. There's no smooth way to get
You almost
people
have to drive
places.
them down.
Yeah, and you almost have to have, like
Any way
Cindy
to
said,
improve that?
have to have a way to drive the handicapped people down there, then park back up there, because that's a lot to ask a handicapped person to walk down there.
Unfortunately, this is kind of one of those events that you take what you can get. We're going to try to be as accommodation as possible. But this is an event that is in an outside area in a park that's used all the time. So kind of like when we were having concerts, MCAC at concerts at Alcove Spring, you take what you can get. And so therefore, absolutely, will we try to accommodate people? We have talked about golf carts. I believe that we have talked to Rotary and other places to be able to, other service organizations maybe to help us out with that, because we would love to help people out as much as possible. They also have to understand that they're going to have to deal with it a little bit, in the nicest way possible, because absolutely, we understand everything that you're talking about. It's a very limited location. We are working there because the fireworks need to be there because of safety purposes, and we feel as if everything kind of needs to be on the same lot, in the same area. I think that makes most sense to us, so, but all of these things are things that we have talked about for the past 3-4 months. So, thank you for your discussion and conversation too, because that's very important.
Any other questions? Okay.
Awesome. You're welcome. I'm gonna stay right up here because I'm next.
Yeah, you're next. Move on to business and discussion items. First up, we have the Convention Tourism Interim Director.
Perfect, thank you. So you have the letter that I sent in your packet. This is a discussion that we had with Admin and Finance Committee
Can
meeting.
I stop you?
Uh-huh.
Because at Admin and Finance, we never agreed to any of this. At Admin and Finance, we were told the city wouldn't get involved with paying anything till January 1st when an actual director was hired.
At the Admin and Finance meeting, I said at the very beginning that we had not voted yet. Chamber of Main Street, our friends had. We had not voted yet. And
That was
so,
never said at the meeting. Do you remember that, Lori?
I do actually remember
Okay.
that. Yes, I do.
But-
Because she made the comment that they had a meeting the following week.
That's correct.
After our meeting.
But it's not been approved by council to do this at all. We didn't bring back a recommendation because we told them that you guys told us that we would not get involved till January 1st, and that's what I'm sticking to,
okay.
so.
Yep, and actually, I appreciate that. Thank you very much for bringing that up. This is a conversation, so I'm glad that the letter is just continues the conversation down the road. So if the council says no to that, I mean, that is definitely up to the council, of course. We would like to continue moving forward. So if this ends up not being the vote tonight, that ends up not being the vote tonight, and that's totally fine.
I was a little curious why
Yeah.
you were asking for the half of the funding for a whole year instead of just 6 months worth. I mean, if you're splitting the salary.
But
well,
I'm confused
if
on
you're
why
s-
Chamber and Main Street is not covering part of that salary.
Or that.
Oh my gosh, I had several people look at that and I did not do that correctly. That is,
Because, I
That
mean,
is my bad.
if $45,000 for the year
Yep.
was the projected salary, and then you're splitting that with Chamber Main Street, then,
oh,
That's the salary starting January 1st.
correct.
Right.
That's
Yes.
not the current contracted salary.
Nope, and,
That would
but
be
I'm saying
the
if the ask is for funding for an interim 6-month position, why are they, why is he asked for half of a year
And-
salary?
Right.
Furthermore, Stacy was being paid, if he's an interim director, why isn't he getting her amount of salary for the interim? Because that's what we talked about that at Admin and Finance meeting, so.
Okay, so let me back up just a little bit. So if you remember from the original proposal, that Convention and Tourism would pay for all of the salary. We would pay for $45,000, and then the Chamber of Main Street would pay $15,000 for the director's insurance. So therefore, this is half of the salary for the year. It is the half of the projected salary, the 6 months. If we do an interim director between our two organizations, then we're still paying all the salary. That was what the proposal was given, was that we pay all the salary and they pay the insurance. So,
I guess, yeah.
correct,
I guess
yes.
that wasn't really discussed maybe so much at that admin and finance meeting, it wasn't explained that way, I don't think, at the last meeting that we had.
About,
Well, the one we had right before they hired him. I don't remember them asking, or part of the discussion being that we were gonna split the person between Chamber and Convention Tourism, but we were gonna pay all the salary and they were gonna
I think that was a couple meetings ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was in the proposal.
And that was before all the things changed with
No.
Yeah.
Nope, that was in the proposal that we,
Where they
submitted.
flip-flopped and decided to do
newest one?
this.
No, that was in the proposal that we submitted to you, with the interim director in mind. That Convention and Tourism would pay $45,000 for the whole year, for his salary, and then for the director's salary, and then, Chamber Main Street would pay $15,000 for the interns. That was in that last proposal.
But I recall that was also starting January
Yeah.
1st.
Correct, absolutely, and so that's why, since
And-
Chamber Main Street has,
Right.
had voted to,
And what my hangup is,
yeah,
your letter says there's a contract, says $20,750.
right,
That would
it's,
be this contract that'd be going on right now, correct?
sure. I
Okay.
mean, if we still had a director, that is what was on our budget from our contract from Toby.
Because the other thing I remember is when we left the last meeting is that we were gonna set a deadline and do contracts.
Right, but that was Chamber Main Street.
That was everybody's because that involved the money for this deal too.
Right.
Because that involved their part of the money, what they were gonna get less of. This also involved the final writing of the exact job description.
And a contract.
And then the contract so that when you guys went out to do the interviewing process, we could just keep right on rolling.
Okay, and that is absolutely fine. Are you able to pay for his full-time salary on Chamber Main Street?
So Marysville Chamber and Main Street is a nonprofit organization, and I don't feel comfortable talking about somebody's salary in public forum here. But I will say we have hired Wayne to fulfill a 6-month interim position. And with those duties, those are just for interim director duties. That does not include any of the events that we do. We listened to our previous directors, talked to 3 of them, and they all said they would have done a much better job of being a Chamber Main Street director had they not had to spend so much time planning, organizing, and throwing events. So as a board, we are discussing hiring an events coordinator. So that is why we are I don't want to say shrinking the position of the interim director, but we're taking off a lot of the responsibilities and time-consuming events, and that's why we are coming at the amount that we are for our interim director. Does that help at all?
No,
I think we need to table this and send it back to committee.
because none of that was what we talked about at the committee meeting. And we come back with the recommendation and told them we weren't doing anything till January 1st. We weren't responsible. We were doing contracts, and you guys would do interviews after we got the contract, and we would start January 1st.
And I do think maybe there is some confusion as far as which group is which. So I'm the president of Marysville Chamber and Main Street, and so we have decided to do this, and we aren't necessarily an arm of the city council like Convention and Tourism is. So we've gone ahead and we can't sit still like you've had to do for however long you've been filling in as president. We're not going to do that. So we are acting fast, and that's why we hired an interim director. And we did say for 6 months because we want to continue conversations with Convention and Tourism and the leadership in Marshall County and see how, what responsibilities each organization has, how we can work together, how we can maybe mold those together or, be more efficient as organizations. And so that's exactly what we were talking about as far as Chamber Main Street not hiring somebody full-time for a salary position as our executive director until we've continued those conversations for the next 6 months.
Because that's what we talked about, continuing those conversations and having everybody together, and then you guys bring this proposal that you want to hire Wayne, and you want us to pay $45,000 and you pay $15,000. And then that just stopped that conversation because you guys decided that's what you wanted to do.
Yeah, so our budget is controlled and voted on by the board. And so we have decided to do that, yes, and I wanted to inform the admin and finance committee of what we were doing, and that we do want to have continued conversations with convention and tourism, and continue to work for the best of Marysville. That's really why we're here, guys. I don't know if you have a lot of extra time in your life to be the interim director of convention and tourism, but we're volunteers. We
I
are.
volunteered
We
in
are
convention and tourism
volunteering,
for 10
and we're
years.
trying to grow Marysville, promote Marysville, and do what's best for the city as a whole. So we appreciate
So
your
what,
support.
my question is what's the 45,000? What's that cover?
That's starting January
Salary.
1st, is that entire year wage for the combined director's position.
But is that still gonna be true? Is it gonna be combined director?
So our intention for Chamber and Main Street is we have a 6-month interim director, and in November, we will put out applications for executive director.
For chamber or for combined?
Depends where we're at in
Yeah.
November. That's why we're doing this interim, because we're not there yet. We want to get there. We're both moving forward, we're continuing to have discussions, but things are gonna stop happening if your volunteers are the ones running the show and doing these interim director positions without any compensation and without any time to do them. And so we decided it was best for Chamber Main Street to hire somebody to fill those shoes now and continue the discussions.
So what's the city's, where are we budgeted at as far as a director per year?
For the year, it was 20,750.
Okay.
And keeping in mind, that position also, when it was originally budgeted, was a part-time position through, and with that and the pony barn. And so they paid half and we paid half. That is not the case in this concept. Again, with the interim, and maybe I'm completely misreading what you're talking about, but I thought that we were on the same page, and I think we are.
I think so.
Are we? Okay, just making sure. And the concept that convention and tourism pays the salary and Chamber Main Street pays the rest of the things. Yes. So that is the reason why half of the year, part-time position, I put in 2250, because it's very close to what that part-time position for the full year would have been budgeted at that time.
So the projected 45,000 is a total between convention and tourism in the city?
No,
No,
that's
That's
total
where I'm
convention
lost.
and, total convention and tourism.
total convention and tourism, starting January 1st.
Correct.
That's just a proposal at this point.
That's the proposal
Correct.
that has no contracts, that has nothing right now.
Correct, yes.
And the part-time director they talk about at 2750 is what, if they had one right now, is what that person would be being paid. Now, the only confusion I have is, so he's gonna be your part-time director for 6 months and their part-time director for 6 months.
Sure.
What we've found is a lot of the responsibilities of our directors are the same.
Correct.
Which they used to be
No,
one
no
position.
argument there.
Yeah, no argument.
Let's- 100 plus. So I just have one more question. This 22,500, that's for our half,
The convention and tourism.
just for the
Well, it's-
convention and tourism director. Chamber's still paying him.
No, I mean, I think what,
No,
I think
that's-
what Chambers want to do is take the
No,
money
is
they
that what
were.
you're paying him also, right?
We're paying him outside of whatever you
I
have
know
in
that,
front
and
of
I'm not
you.
asking the amount, but you're paying him also.
Yes.
For his,
And then then convention tourism wants to throw another 22.5 on top of it.
Yeah.
For 6 months?
Six
Yeah,
months.
for
For
6
6
months.
months.
yes.
So we're talking more like,
And
I mean, has he got,
in the-
is there benefits with
In the
this,
perfect
or is
world,
this just?
if he's sharing duties in the perfect world, and he only works 40 hours a week, that's 20 hours a week to each one of them. In the perfect world, I know it's not the perfect world.
And I will say to that, Parker, it's probably not gonna be 20 hours from our standpoint. It's probably gonna be much less because, again, with conversations, we've discovered that a lot of those responsibilities are duplicative. And so if we are able to hire an events coordinator to take on those responsibilities, that's gonna be where the majority of our salary is going to an events coordinator.
Are you gonna try and do that this year, or is that for still next year also?
We're working on an interim, and then we're gonna put it up for applications for a full-time in January.
Okay. Because I knew that was coming too, and I thought that was next year also.
Yeah.
And was the 45,000 our projected budget? Is that something that we as a city came up with, or?
That's
Commission?
what
It was
they're-
part of these
That's part of their
discussions,
Alright,
yeah.
I'm just trying to get this all straight in my head.
And that's,
My suggestion that I come up with one wild night was 47.
yeah.
As far as when you say 47,
47,000 a year, the city was gonna cover everything for the first 2 years. Then when you got to year 3 and 4, that's where the split started, and year 5 and 6, it was a self-sustaining thing.
But they come up with a
That
different
was one of the
proposal.
They come up with
proposals.
this proposal and they wanna go, so I'm fine.
so you're below where you thought per year?
For a
Okay.
year. But I guess my problem is that they're wanting convention and tourism to pay half of the salary that, for this year, when convention and tourism hired him as an interim director. And so I'm just.
Chamber Main Street.
Chamber Main Street, yeah, hired him as an interim director, so.
But our budget was still, Parker, you're thinking was still like 47,000 for 2 years, and then
47,000 a year and paying everything for 2 years.
And
Insurance and everything.
That was as a city employee, which
Right.
would be much more than $47,000.
Right.
Yeah.
By the time you pay the benefits.
And then it
everything.
was the next 2 years, then you start splitting it. And basically what it did is gave them a chance to see how things were gonna truly shake out.
so basically they're asking for half of what you projected, less than half, for 2024, right?
No.
No, they're asking
Rest of
for
this year.
July now,
Well, that's,
till the end of the
they're
year.
asking for right now, yeah.
They're
And that's-
asking for
and that's-
22.5 to be split over the next 6 months.
And that's where I'm a little confused, I guess, because we had a convention, or we had a, admin and finance meeting. I think that they were pretty open to it. We agreed that we wanted to have more talks. And it sounds like then a few days later, they just voted to hire a position that hadn't necessarily been approved yet. It was, they were open to, but there were a lot more discussions, I think, that they planned on having in meetings with the
Yeah,
groups.
and those meetings are open as well, so we'd love to have anybody come. But the admin and finance committee meeting, I thought was great.
Yeah.
But it was really all focused on Chamber Main Street, which I'm not pointing fingers, that's not my point. But when we talked about contracts and things like that, redoing what the city was going to do, how much they were gonna give, the barbecue money, all of that type of stuff, I mean, that's all Chamber and Main Street things. And because we had not yet had a meeting, they have the opportunity to have meetings without worry for coma or Cora, and, not telling the public about it, then they were able to call a quick meeting and decide and, then bring that forward to you. And at that time, I did tell you that we did have a meeting in a couple of days. And we, as a board, I could not speak for them, we, as a board, had not voted or done any type of thing aside saying, here's the proposal that we received.
And I guess I don't remember being told at that meeting that you were gonna have a meeting in a few days and you were possibly gonna hire for that position that we were, for tourism director.
Well, part of the reason why we did that was because our friends at Chamber Main Street did. And so we are working together.
But they had already had an employee, they were replacing an existing employee, which is a little bit different than hiring a completely new employee that.
But we have had an employee in the past. It's in our budget, in the budget that's been for the last 2 years, put into the city's budget. And so even though those funds aren't being spent, it was there.
And those were, and it was shared, like you said, with the pony, but I remember when that happened, we had quite a few discussions and sorting out the contract and who was responsible for what and how that person's responsibilities what they would be and how their roles would be split between the different departments, and we hadn't really,
Yeah.
I don't feel sorted that all out quite yet.
And I think that's fantastic. And like I said in the beginning of this presentation, I mean, the conversation, we'd love for the conversation to continue. So therefore, part of the reason why we put that letter in front of you was to continue the conversation. So, it sounds as if there's a lot of confusion, and I apologize for that. That was not I thought that we were more on the same page, and so I apologize for that. That is not our intention.
Because had we known this, we'd have come back and told the council that was what was going to happen. Did you want to approve it? But we never knew that. We knew that it wasn't going to start till January 1st. We weren't going to have any input or anything till the contracts were done on January 1st.
And I could not tell you that this was going to happen until we had our meeting a couple of days later, because I cannot, as the chair of the Convention Tourism Committee, I cannot speak for them. That we had not had any discussions past that the meeting the month before that, when the proposals were given to us. And then I came to the admin and finance meeting and I presented those proposals. So because the city works slowly, just because you have to, it's the way it goes. The Convention Tourism does it doubly slow because we only meet once a month. We did meet a special meeting, we called that, and I let Austin and Cindy know when that happened. And we did discuss the proposal before we came to the admin and finance meeting because we had to. But in general, we usually stick to our normal meetings that are always on the second Tuesday of the month, usually, or at noon, usually at the Leadham Center for Fine Art, which anybody would be welcome to come to.
Well, I guess the option, if somebody wants to make a motion, or you could table it, kick it to a committee for further discussions with the groups. What's council want to do?
Kevin made a motion to table it to the committee. I'll second that.
Okay.
Can we, on that committee, can we get the contract for the executive director that they have right now?
Yep.
So if this were to happen after the admin and finance meeting, would a whole nother contract have to be made up to finish through the rest of the year? Yes.
But it's not that.
Okay.
Yeah, because it will be a completely different contract.
Right.
Mhm. The Pony Barn was.
Pony Barn.
Yeah, Pony Barn comes
right.
out of it, and I don't remember what all was, I don't remember who paid for what.
It was just a contract employee, so there wasn't.
Is that all it was?
It's just a contract employee like they presented now
there weren't
with the
benefits.
45,000, so it's just a sum of money we pay every, at that time the Pony paid half the month and we paid the other, but in this case, we would just divide it in half and pay twice a month, in both of our ordinances. Or once a month, whichever way works.
Can we try and get it done before the next council meeting?
You can try.
A committee
Try.
meeting.
It'll be
You can try.
Try
busy, but yeah.
Anybody got anything they know doesn't work?
You just gotta give me a date.
Okay, I'll call.
Wednesday nights are the only ones that tried over.
Okay, right, okay. All right.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll set up a meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We are on ordinance number 1920 on this is and I think Keith brought this up to me about the charging station and parking
Yeah, I told
signs.
Todd to bring it up in the meeting because I wasn't gonna be here.
So we got that written up so that we can get some signage up.
Cause I did notice during the barbecue that those spots were being used up by.
Yeah.
So we putting EV signs up, is that the deal?
This will be
Charging.
specifically for charging.
Yeah, restricting for charging, yep.
So,
My next question is, when
Yeah.
the overroad trucks start being electric, how are we gonna
fit them in
How
those
would,
two
do
parking
you
spots.
allocate more spaces, or what are we going?
I don't know. I guess we'll
We'll
cross
have to
that
deal with
bridge
that when we get there,
yeah,
cause I
when we
imagine
get
the
to
charger's different.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think they use a different charger.
Cause this isn't
format.
quick charge, so it takes a
Yeah, I
long
imagine
time.
the charger's way different, probably bigger or something,
Yeah.
so.
Move
I
to
guess
take
approve ordinance
all day.
1920.
second.
Do they take, yeah, I imagine they take a while.
Just gotta start thinking ahead.
Is
Oh,
motion
I
and a
know.
second?
Yes.
That-
Kevin
They moved
Parker,
in second.
Motion in second.
They approved it.
Okay.
I mean, I gotta.
Call for a
Roll
vote.
call.
Yeah.
Fry,
Yes.
Keating,
Yes.
Snellings,
Yes.
Yes.
Beichman, Zaraki,
Yes.
Price,
Yes.
Barons,
Yes.
Crum.
Yes.
Okay, 8-0. All right. Next up, we have notices and hearings. First up, we have Resolution 2023-26. Bob?
Good evening. Okay, I got 3 of them tonight. The first one is for Janet Wecker. She's got a vehicle in the back of her yard over here. I notified them in April the 20th to get it moved. I was told a month ago they were gonna move it. It's still sitting there. And we need to do something about it because the tags aren't up to date, no insurance. It's a big eyesore.
Correct me if I'm wrong, if we tow them, we don't have a title for them, so we're stuck with them till eternity.
We're gonna have to figure out where we're gonna store it at because, yes.
You got a solution for that?
I hope to have, but I gotta still figure out how to do it. Save,
Until we get it figured out, I'm
Save the
gonna
tow truck
put a
time.
vehicle on somebody's lot and leave it set there.
Well,
I don't think we can tow it to their
The
lot. They
problem
don't
is-
want them
is-
sitting there.
you tow it and it sits on their lot, and then
Yeah,
we
exactly.
go and try and write them for cleaning up
The
also.
same thing.
And that ain't
working
working.
out there too.
Because they're stuck with it for,
Eternity too.
well,
Yeah.
I think some of them been at some places for a year.
And the junk salvage yards won't take them, so
Without a title.
without a title.
Nope.
So you need to
Got-
tell her she needs to get rid of it, she needs to get the title and get Smitty's over, get it gone.
Well,
So, I don't know, you should can you vote on this resolution?
Yeah, I was gonna say, the resolution just says,
You got 10 more days to fix
10
this.
more days.
It gives it more teeth. That way, if we have to, we can take care of it. But if you don't do that, we
Try
can't.
and force them a little bit harder.
Yes.
Move to approve resolution number 2023-26.
second.
Okay.
thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 8-0.
Yeah, I'm gonna have quite a few more of them. Okay. The next one is Sherry E. Martin up at the 701 North 11th Street. I went by there this morning. She has the yard mowed and all the guttering picked up, but up on the house, there's still, on that porch, there's some tree limbs and that porch roof is really bad.
Is there anything on the back side of it yet?
I can't get to it.
Move to approve resolution 2023-27.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 8-0.
Then the next one is Ross Lockhart down at 207 Alston Street. I have sent him letters since, I can't remember exactly when it was, but ever since I started. And I get my letters returned. He did mow the yard.
Say, did we mow it?
No.
This year, I know we have in the past, we've had to go in there and mow it.
Well, I was gonna have
year or
him,
something.
have it mowed the first time, and went down there and it was mowed.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I think we approved it once.
And I was down there this morning, and the yard's been mowed again, but all the limbs, the wood laying beside the alley, The brush, it's still there. It needs to be cleaned up. It's nothing but a rat harbor down there.
Move to approve resolution 2023-28.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 8-0.
I thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next, we got Will with a couple condemnations.
Alright, the first one I got here is, Richard Bryan's. It's at 708 Calhoun. It's a garage, it's just, the roof's coming off of it, the siding, paint's peeling on it all the way. The foundation on the west side's pretty well shot.
So it's just the garage?
It's just the garage on that property, yes.
Move to approve resolution 2023-29 at 708 Calhoun, condemnation.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 8-0.
Then my second one is at 511 North 8th Street. It's Patricia Wassenberg's. It's also the garage along the alley. It's just straight across the alley from this garage. It's in the same shape. You can see through the roof from one side to the other, clear through. The siding's in bad shape. It's got holes in it on the north side of it.
Move to approve resolution 2023-30.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 8-0.
Alright, thank you.
All right, thanks, Will.
Thank you.
Next up, we have the consent agenda.
Move to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 8-0 on that one. Next we have appropriations ordinance number 3800.
Move to approve appropriation ordinance 3800 in the amount of $467,265.88.
Second.
Okay, any discussion about any of the items on there? Roll call?
Fry,
Yes.
Keating,
Yes.
Snellings,
Yes.
Bikeman,
Yep.
Gurecki,
Yes.
Price,
Yes.
Barons,
Yes.
Thrum,
Yes.
8-0.
Next, Austin with the staff reports.
Okay. First thing on my list is the Highway 36 manhole project. We opened bids on the 14th. Included is the bid that we received from NOAC Construction. It came in at $774,414.80.
Was this bid the poured, but they didn't have to dig it all up, or was this a?
That was the idea. That, as far as, Rob had told me, he wanted to simplify, not big hole.
Dig a big hole, right,
Yeah.
that's why I was asking, is this the only bid we got on that simplified?
Yes, that, as they drew it up, that was the only bid, we got. And the engineer's estimate for this, project was $239,957.60. After discussion with, Rob at CES, we talked about, different options. I think we came to the conclusion that we probably should rebid this. There was something weird going on with concrete when bidders were going to look at concrete. I mean, you can notice that, they bid the flowable fill at $400 and some dollars a square yard, or what, cubic yard? Square yard. Cubic yard. There we go, cubic yard. And it's usually, well, it's been $160, $170. That's just one aspect of it. Rob thought he could rework the traffic control, which is another expensive part of this project, and he proposed rebidding in September to get a project going for next year, which is not ideal because we've been trying to get this done sooner rather than later, but, we gotta get this project done anyways. So that's where we're at with this bid.
Well, I think that's the route we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not almost 3 times what the engineer's estimate is.
It's a big miss, yeah.
Yep. So I'm recommending, declining all bids.
Move to decline all bids.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
We'll rebid that out. The second project, that we have on the list, is the, KDOT, I call it KDOT sewer, but it's just a sewer, right, a sanitary sewer that KDOT hooks onto from their shop, out in front of their property. It supplies sewer to them as well as upstream, from the hotel and Landau lanes. And the house, probably the house right behind that too. And it's collapsed. They've been pulling limestone out of it, for a while. I think they've had to pump it twice a year for, a few years now. So CES drew these plans up and went out to bid. The low bid came in from Jadwin Construction out of Hiawatha for $153,188. They propose to start the project August 28th, or get the notice to start at August 28th so they can start getting the project material in, and complete the project by October 23rd. Engineer's estimate was $158,355. So the bid was 3% lower than the engineer's estimate.
I hope they know there's a lot of rock in there.
Yeah.
I hope they don't come back and see us.
Right. That is a good point.
Solid limestone.
I did throw in, please don't, it's not exact, I put together a drawing of what exactly the project, I say exactly, not exactly, basically a concept of, on page 59 of what it looks like now. The red line is how it flows right now. It goes out, has a manhole, has another manhole out near the highway, and then comes back to another manhole. This system wasn't on our maps, as when we had the sewer done. I guess we didn't have the knowledge of that setup. But the idea of the project is to basically cut those 2 manholes off, and abandon that section and put a brand new 8-inch line, which will be bigger than I believe that's a 6-inch line out there. But brand new pipe, creating a shorter distance and less manholes to maintain, and simplifies the project just that much more.
I move to approve the KDOT sewer replacement project
Second.
from the low bid of Jadwin Construction
Yep.
of $153,188.
Okay. Have a second?
Kevin
Or a second?
seconded it.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There you go.
All right, last thing on my list, we need to have another budget workshop to go over. Basically, what we're gonna do is go over the budget as it'll look after you guys went through all the projects that we were gonna do and all the equipment we were gonna do. So it's basically, I implemented what we talked about, and then you guys can look at the project and the budget as a whole, with what you guys talked about. Now, after I thought about this July 6th, I came up with another option. The second option would be a week later. Well, what are we at?
July 13th?
I would say July 12th.
Well,
I know you don't like Wednesdays, but Thursday was gonna be tough for me. But we would call it a special meeting, that way, cause my initial plan was to go to this July 6th, you guys review the budget. If you had any problems with it, I change it. If not, on the next council meeting, you approve the notice to the county for, the revenue neutral rate that we're required to do, by the 20th. Which is in between two council meetings. So if you want to do July 6th, that's fine. We just do it in that order. If you want to do July 12th, or any day the following week before the 20th, I didn't make any, I don't have my plans for the other days, but July 12th was going to work. If you want to do July 12th, we can call a special meeting, and then you guys can approve the revenue neutral rate statement.
so if we do it the next week, you want to do everything in once?
Yeah.
If we do it the 6th, we can do the council meeting on Monday and approve it?
Yes.
Okay.
Either way, it's a meeting. I mean, the special meeting would last about 5 minutes.
Right, I know,
Yeah.
it wouldn't last that long.
Either one works for me.
If you, I mean, is the 13th okay with you guys?
It's fine
Or
with
not,
me.
I mean, the
For the
12th?
6th?
The 12th.
12 sounds good.
12th?
Yeah.
Okay, let's
Wednesday
plan
the
on the
12th.
12th and call a special meeting. If you are so kind, thank you.
13th.
The 12th.
The 12th, which is a
12th, Wednesday, the 12th, yeah.
Wednesday, the 12th at 6
Yes, please.
is
That'll
will
be
the
a
budget
special-
workshop.
A budget workshop and special meeting to follow, yeah.
to approve the.
Yeah, to approve the revenue neutral rate.
So our workshop will be private and then, or can people still?
Well, no,
come?
it's all
never
public.
public.
All of it is public, yes.
Okay,
It'll be an open workshop,
okay.
Same time at 6.
6 o'clock, yes.
Actually not budget, private.
Yeah, no, it'll all be open.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to,
Anybody would go. Okay, so we'll make that plan. Double check to make sure that's okay in our schedule, but it should be fine.
Do we have court on Wednesday?
The
What day do we have
third,
court on?
third week?
I don't know. Do you have court in July, John?
12th? Do you have court the 12th?
What days do you have court on Wednesday? Don't want to get on top of you.
Be the 12th and 26th.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of.
Yeah,
So it can't be Wednesday.
Can we check the docket and see how long it is?
You sure we can check the
6 in the, 6 in the evening.
6 in the evening, yes.
We go back.
Well, it might get like 6:30. It wouldn't be too far of a stretch. Have they been going long, John?
Yes.
They've been going long. You've been catching people.
Yeah.
A lot.
So Wednesday the 19th is,
12. Wednesday the 12th.
I have down Wednesday the 19th, and let's see when the second date is.
So
I may have written it down wrong.
Wednesday the 5th.
I need to check it. I wrote it down. I was trying to plan ahead here. I wrote down July 19th, but that doesn't sound right now.
So you.
Yes, we go 2 days,
never had to worry.
and I wrote down Marysville Court on the 19th, but I think that's wrong. I'll have to double check.
We'll see how that works. Okay. Well, right.
Next day.
We'll get it worked out. We'll get it worked out.
If not, we can go backwards up back to the 6th.
All right. Yeah, we'll see what we can do. But thank you. Okay, I have nothing else on my agenda.
If I could, it looks like it's July 5th is the first date,
Yep.
and July
So first
19th
and
is the
third.
second.
So first and third, okay, then you're good.
Okay.
We'll move on to the standing committee reports. Anybody have anything on the street?
Jayhawk Road.
Thank you.
Going 25, it's good.
Was it really?
It was, we drove it in our great big pickup Sunday.
No. I mean,
But
we
I
kind of
was shot
agreed to
over,
do an experiment, and I haven't seen,
Chip
you know,
mill. Yeah, how's that going?
Yeah, what's
What's the status on that experiment?
It hasn't been set up, and I have to be honest, I've been working on a lot of fires right now. So it's on me. I I gotta get some rehashing, and to be honest, I was halfway out of the meeting last week, or last time, with an infection, so it's, also on me. So we can get this straight. Go ahead and, can somebody rehash, that conversation?
So we would like to try 100 foot of ground millings, not millings, ground millings, because they have less oil in them, from 13th Street to the west.
Okay.
And if you would like to delegate that to somebody, I would be more than happy to help you with that, and then make sure I bring information back to you before we pull the trigger.
So,
On anything.
who was working on that?
So Don Bruin looked at it for me.
Okay.
And he said he thought he could make that work. And if it was successful, we could grind the millings at the city dump this winter and use that to do expand that project.
So we're not reshaping the road at all in this?
Talking to Don, he thinks more just kind of mix it in with what we have. Maybe a little shaping, but not clean the ditches out.
You need a lot of water.
Now that I'm lucid.
Yeah, it's gonna take a lot of.
We're dry this year, yes.
Very
Okay.
But if it was a cheap option to help with dust control over time.
Okay, 100 foot.
So I would love to help you with that, Austin.
13th going
West.
west. Okay, 13th going west. 13th.
So what, 13th to 8th? Is that how far you?
Well, 100 feet, no, that's not gonna get you there.
Yeah.
It's gonna get 1/3 of a block.
The experiment, he'll haul them over from his quarry.
Okay.
Because he can't grind them this time of year.
Ground, millings. And he will mix them in. He'll mix them in.
He will do whatever we tell him.
Okay.
I'll work with you and Dawn on that, if you don't mind.
Okay, we can get that. Okay, now that I can understand what's going on. Okay.
Anybody else have anything on street?
Yes, the manhole on 15th between Carolina and Alston, so it'd be right in front of Knights of Columbus. It was brought to my attention that he needs raised.
It's a low one.
Yep.
I usually drive left to, yeah.
Yep. It's kinda like potholes.
Yep.
Throw that in there.
It's low because of the chip and a couple layers of chip and seal
Yeah,
on top of it.
that's what I would say, yeah.
And I'd probably hesitate, because if we probably eventually want to mill that off, and then you have to lower it again. I'm wondering if there's a temporary, not temporary, a less permanent solution.
Don't put a metal plate over it.
Metal plate is also, well, you know, when people are driving down the street.
I know where you have one. Dum-dum.
We got this cute little miller, just go up and walk around.
That's what I was gonna say, can you kind of just feather it back?
Then you'd probably have a, yeah.
Yeah, but at least then it's a
procedure was,
wall instead of a
It'd be a little wave instead of a drop. Yeah, okay.
Well, the drop can't be doing any good for the manhole itself anyway, because you're just getting hammered every time somebody drives over it.
I agree, 8 foot around it, just kinda taper out and use that milling thing we bought.
Yeah. Let's see what we can do. All right, okay.
Seen that too, yeah.
All right, okay.
Anything else on street?
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, Keith. You can go.
It's okay.
No.
The sidewalk replacement program, a lot of people don't know what that is about, so if you wanna explain what that is, go right ahead.
All right, I can, the sidewalk replacement program is open to all residents of the city of Marysville. The idea, premise behind it is the city will pay for half of the materials. It's general terms. There are some specifics in there. Half of the materials, not the labor. If a resident wants to either, one, install a sidewalk that is 5 foot wide, or two, replace their existing sidewalk, which is to a 5-foot wide sidewalk, or just their broken up sidewalk that is already, I mean, you can just replace the sidewalk. As long as the new one is 5 foot wide, 4 inches deep, unless it crosses a drive path and it's 6 inches deep.
Parallel?
And it's gotta be parallel to the street. So your normal sidewalk that's out in front of your, house, that goes with the street, that's the sidewalk that it covers. If it's going from a sidewalk that, from the street to your house, that is not covered. That's your own responsibility. We do have applications in City Hall. Is it online? Do we have them online?
There might be one online too.
Okay, there's an application online. A lot of the contractors around here know about the program, and they will be able to help you out with that. So if you have any questions, please call City Hall, and we'd be more than happy to answer those questions.
It's a reimbursement.
Yes.
I guess my only opinion is the 4 foot great, because most of the sidewalks are 3. But I don't know, the 5 foot seems extreme, but that's just my opinion.
It's an ADA,
Yeah,
it's ADA.
But I think we have some ADA ramps that are in and then taper out to a smaller sidewalk.
Right, and that issue is being addressed, as we do I don't hate to brag about this project, but, when I came on, I started this ADA project, and one of the biggest things the council wanted was, instead of just doing that head at the street, we do all the way to the intersection. And you'll see those ones that do taper into the smaller sidewalks. We don't do that anymore. Those are of the past, yes.
Okay.
Those need to be addressed eventually, but right now we're trying to, with the current projects, with our current projects, we are doing all the way to where it intersects at the very least. If there's additional work that needs to be graded in to the best of our ability, we do that too, but at least to where the two sidewalks meet at the landing. So yeah, those are some of the older ones that the city did. The newer projects don't do that.
Come down to Jason's part and my part of the city, you can see inlines, I mean, on
Alston, from Alston, Second and Alston to 11th and
section.
Alston is this year's project, and all of them there's a pathway
On my
to the elementary
intersection,
school.
there was only one that wasn't, and it was across the street from me, but where they had the water leak.
Yeah.
So, but then down on the other end, they have 2 or 3, and they're putting in new catch basins too.
Yes,
Yeah, some of those are
Yeah,
bad.
A lot of them.
yeah.
yes.
There's like 3 of them sitting down on the other end on the corner that they're gonna replace too. So,
I would probably say too that an old, narrower, smooth sidewalk is better than an uplifted, wide sidewalk. There's a lot of the places that need this the most. I mean, they'd be lucky to have a 3 foot, because if there's a lip, you can't get a wheelchair over that.
Yes, and we try, I mean, I've been thinking about how to advertise coordination with our projects. And it just hasn't come to fruition. Just to say we had something going down Austin, we could have advertised to all those people. And we've been trying with our ADA ramp. We've been going in places where there is no ramp, or it's a curb that meets a sidewalk, and it's not beneficial. So trying to address some of those. It's got a sidewalk, but it's not accessible by anything. There are still a lot out there that are ramps. You can get onto the sidewalk. We've left those be for now, trying to create as much access as possible. But yes, a smooth sidewalk is better than a broken up raised sidewalk.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think anybody needs to go around putting door hangers on people who need it the worst, but the more word we can get out there,
Yep.
the more people who can take advantage of the program, the
Yep.
better it'll be for everyone. And, I mean, I think properly built, what's the life expectancy of a sidewalk? 70 years, 80 years?
No, I had 2 layers.
Of sidewalk.
Of sidewalk. They tore
Just
up
put
the
the new
first
one
one, and
over
there
it.
was another one that was down, it must have been before they even had curbing, that was buried under the,
Then that's a
under the
boardwalk.
top broken. Yeah, surprised it was broke up as bad as it was considering how thick it was. but-
If it's properly maintained, if it's properly constructed, properly maintained, the weeds kept out of it, we recommend, I've also thought about advertising this, we recommend not salting your sidewalk and going with something other than, regular salt. Do the there's like a blue salt or something like that out there that's not, bad for new concrete. But we as a city don't salt concrete for 5 years, and we recommend that because it allows the concrete to age, I guess, is what I best describe it as, and not react to the salt that gets thrown on there. So if you want your concrete to last longer, that's something we try to do at the city.
It's mostly tree roots that make that.
Yeah.
You know, when you plant a tree in your parking, and those maples have terrible root system that raise your sidewalks and cause people to fall.
But if anybody wants to sign up for the program, everybody's welcome to.
So I had a couple things on street. One is, I hate to be the catch basin complainer, but I noticed another catch basin, since you were gone today, might have just dropped you an email, Austin, but the northwest corner of North and 20th Street, that's not even a very old catch basin. They're right by Landals, by the corner of the airport there.
Okay.
It's not super noticeable unless you're on foot, and I was, but the gap between that newer roadway and the catch basin material itself is a hole. It's opened. I think probably when they put the new street in, there might have been a crack and water's just flowed through there and it's undermining it. So I think we should probably look at it. I don't know if we have a real way to fill something. We don't use flowable concrete, but it looks like the roadway's probably bridging a small gap there now. And eventually that's gonna get a heck of a lot worse, especially with heavy trucks going through there. So, that and the mastic we use for a lot of road repairs, we use that pretty aggressively in some places. It seems to incite the ire of a lot of people that we use it to do gutter repair in 2 by 8 foot sections. I understand the utility of it. I'm not saying it's like a bad solution, but it definitely makes people think we're just putting lipstick on a pig. So, do we have kind of a rubric we follow as far as how big of an area I think of that as being a small gaps solution, and we're using it a pretty broad brush. If that's the best solution, okay, but I think I don't know if we have kind of a rule of thumb.
Well, I think they've tried putting asphalt in before, but it won't stay, but the
Yeah, well,
mastic
yeah,
will.
cold mix
And that's
holes.
why they do that if we can't afford to do the whole curve.
But I have seen there's one street that I go by in here a while back. I stopped and did some work and I went to leave. I heard something thunk, thunk, thunk. And some of that crack sealer had pulled up, stuck to my tire and was flopping around my wheel well.
And I've been
So I don't know if it was
motorcycle, it
too
can be pretty
cold
slick
when it
too.
went down or if it wasn't prepped maybe, or I don't know, but it didn't stick.
There's
I think they were putting it down, getting ready to do like a chip and seal.
And down the street sweepers got it too.
Well, and you'll see where somebody did like you do, and there's a tread mark down the street because it's just coming off. I thought of it as something kind of I think of it even as a temporary fix or before chip seal, a big crack seal kind of thing.
That's typically what they've done is they prep they get all the weeds and everything out and clean it, and then they do the crack seal and get that done, and then they come back and do the chip seal later. But this I think they did last fall, so I don't know if it was from being on there over the winter, moisture got underneath or whatever, but it
Yeah.
came up.
I mean, I think it's a good tool, but it's kind of like the crack sealing and stuff too. People don't look at that as very favorably, I guess. So we either need to do a better job of like explaining to people, or we just need to do less of it or use it differently maybe.
I don't think we should discourage what they're doing, because I think they're
No,
doing a good
no,
job.
no,
with it.
I'm not complaining. I think they're doing
There's
a
some,
good job.
might be a few isolated incidents, but I encourage them to continue.
I'll have a conversation with Gary about,
I just-
just to ask him how we can better use it.
Well, I know the gutter he's talking about, and that's a problem child street. Because that's one of them, asphalt
curb. Yes, I think, is that the only place in town with an asphalt curb?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't know of anywhere
And,
else.
it's up on
On
Oto.
Oto, yeah.
Yep, and it's, I talked to Austin and Gary about it earlier this year, because the problem child is figuring out how to fix it without tearing out the whole street.
I think we
Rolled
came.
her all in one.
I think coming out, I think tearing out the street is the whole,
Yeah,
problem.
that's what we're headed for.
Yeah.
We can't just slice it along there and just pour a new.
That'd be great.
Maybe.
Yeah, you go run a
So,
concrete
I
saw
don't,
cutting asphalt.
I don't know what the,
You go through a lot of blades.
I'm pretty curious
He'll
what
be
the,
mad after about a 10-foot.
Yep.
I'm pretty curious why, I mean, was that like an experiment that was done in the
It could
seventies
have
or?
been, it could have been. I've
That would've been
seen
the
places
north side of
that,
town at that time.
I've seen places where they do asphalt. They've done, they don't do asphalt curbs anymore. They've done
No,
asphalt
but I
curbs.
mean, that looks like a whole hand-formed curb and.
And in a lot of places, it just looks like a concrete curb that's had chip seal sprayed on it
Yeah,
or
it's-
something. It doesn't, it's not obvious.
Right, it's impressive how long it's lasted.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we talked about that earlier this year. It was holding water, and it was having a problem, and,
There's still people who do asphalt curbs.
and the more we looked at it, it just kept getting worse and kept getting worse, and it's like, maybe we ought to quit looking at
Stop
it.
looking.
Well, and when I found out the whole street was involved, it's like, yeah, stop looking.
Problem, yeah. But yeah, no, but to echo what Jeff said, I mean, I think they're doing a great job. We've got a lot of streets and everyone's a special issue in itself. And I'm not complaining, I just think there's kind of a lot of misunderstandings around it, me included. I'm
There's
not
some
an
really
expert.
special ones too.
Yes.
Sorry, I had to throw that in there. You like need GPS to get home.
Anybody else got anything on streets? Okay, water, wastewater?
Lagoons, how we coming on them? Heard anything?
They gave us one final extension. We went out to bid. There was a holdup at KDHE. Been resolved. They just sent me an email today saying they approved everything and we're getting a letter in the mail, physical copy of it. But we're moving forward. We're out to bid. So that's, so we'll open bids next month.
Get too close, right?
Yes.
Okay, anything else on water, wastewater? Parks and Rec?
Yeah, have we lined anything up on the pool yet? Have we found anybody? You know, July 1st is gonna be here, August is gonna be here, and we still ain't gonna have anybody to work on that thing. We're not gonna be working on it in September and October.
No, I need, I don't have a name just yet. I've been working on a few small leads that haven't
I
come to
know ours
fruition.
ain't the only pool in this area that's got problems.
Yeah, I know.
You get on the list.
Yeah, we need to get on a list.
Yep.
Cause they're gonna wanna find out where it's leaking, so they're gonna want water in it to check where it's leaking at.
Yep. No, I'm working on that.
Okay, anything else on Parks and Rec?
The Skyfest thing.
Yes.
First off, I want it to be understood that, what the city has put money towards and what I've been raising money towards is strictly the fireworks. I've talked to Matt and I've talked to Joe. I know there was a talk about, well, the fire department's right over there. I really want to have a fire engine kind of down there by Hedstrom Hall.
They'll
Yeah.
find a
So
spot
they've
to park.
agreed that they'll do that.
Yeah.
what I found out is, I did not know that we're gonna have some, have you ever seen like the gas cannons that shoot the fireball up? We're gonna look at it this weekend before we set up at, or not we, but before he sets up in Hanover. We might position some stuff like in the corral there and kind of floating down towards the ball diamond. The question is, does Marshall County Rec or Marysville Rec, do they have a lease on the property? So if we wanted to put something in the diamond where nobody can be, that is strictly a pyrotechnic thing within the safety zone, can we do that, even if it's on the dirt? Or are we bound by what the managers of our Parks and Rec program?
Inside of those fences, we generally, that's at their discretion, because they maintain it, and I'm hesitant I don't know if it's gonna tear up the field. It'd be up to them whether they.
So
think it would
if
or
I just
not.
talk to them and if they're okay,
Yeah.
go for it?
Yeah.
So, but I would yes, in fact, that's how you should do it.
No, I'm trying
Yeah,
to stay
yeah.
out of the other.
Yeah,
part of it.
they have, everything is scheduled through them. Yes, as long as you're posing it as a question, of what they want.
Okay.
I think that's
The
probably
other,
best case.
the other option would be we stay east of the curb fence. And, I guess at that point, I don't think they're paying the water bill to water it, are they? Okay, that's all I need to know. I'll talk to them. Other than that,
Paying the water bill to water what?
the ball diamonds.
Well, here's the rest of the secret that you don't know. There's a guy that goes up there and waters all that grass at the Country Club Lake. He'll start around June 28th or so.
Okay.
Start next day or two.
We're hoping that we can water, if we don't get rain, we can, maybe the fire department.
No, I will water for.
I hope so, because I do not want to have a grass
We'll
fire.
try this again. I will water for probably about a week and a half.
Okay,
I dump thousands of gallons of water.
All
Every
right.
time we have fireworks, I just start.
okay, good. I've been nervous about that the last
No, we do it.
few
I'm
days.
gonna tell you where the fire's gonna be. It's gonna be right behind the red diamond in the tree line along the fence.
Okay,
If we do
thank
not
you.
get rain.
Parker, thank you, and I will coordinate with you.
Yeah, no, I water, Jeff. I dump 3,000 to 5,000 a night.
Other than that, he started on our show, putting it together. Ours in Hanover about a month ago, actually. It's kind of amazing how much they put into that. Woo. So, that's all I have there.
Anything else in Parks and Rec? Cemetery and Airport? Police and Fire? Admin and Finance? We've already covered pretty much that meeting.
I can't believe.
Did you
We don't
see
have
the
any
new car
appointments.
outside? That's the police car.
Oh,
Saw
yeah.
that one out there, yeah.
The Durango arrived today. Once I get insurance, I'll pick it up and start getting it done.
I'm gonna ask a question.
Oh, it's covered automatically. You're good.
Yeah, no, it's not. But she's working on it. Pretty.
Don't have any appointments. Do we have a reason for an executive session, John?
I don't, but one thing I'd like to point out, maybe this is for Austin, the code enforcement. The city attorney listserv has been on discussion about nuisance properties and service by U.S. mail. It's a problem. And I understand they're gonna reorganize distribution centers again, so it may be a bigger problem. So fallback position is maybe go ahead and do personal service. The statute always talks about certified mail, but maybe go ahead and reach out and do the, as a substitute, personal service. Especially the one we heard tonight where it's hard to find, you won't accept mail. So the ball drop is get personal service.
So what do you do if somebody, say the owner doesn't live in town, but the renter is renting the house?
Once again, your personal service who's there, publication, and then you try to do the service, that's the best you can do. It's always gonna be a gap.
Well, I know, I was just thinking if like where somebody owns it, the owner lives out of town and the renter lives there. Cause don't you have to give it to the owner and the renter both?
Normally, the guy out of town will accept the letter. It's the guy in town that won't.
But you always try both, you're right.
Yeah.
The shortcuts are you just try one or the other, but, because they come in and they say, no, it's a landlord's problem. The landlord comes, no, it's a tenant's problem. So if you have both,
So with personal service, can you, if the rentor or the tenant is not there, can you post it on the front door?
tacking, I've done that, it's a risk because the wind blew it off. The wind's blowing off, something like that.
With
So tacking is not a.
photo documentation by the?
Yeah, but still the person's gotta receive it.
Yeah, I feel like you have to put
Yeah,
it in their hands.
I'm just asking.
Right, it's just, you kinda handcuffed on some of those. Yeah, I guess in criminal court, you could always do an affidavit, get a warrant, that solves that problem. I just wanna point that out, that
Okay.
the
I see where he's going of being during the business day if they're not there, if they're at work. That would make it tough.
Cause I don't want somebody working after hours to go
Well,
hand out.
that's exactly right, cause that just makes it tough.
that may be communication with the chief, maybe willing to involve.
They have done, personal service for us, the police have.
He was talking about today, doesn't live in Marysville, and he doesn't live at that house is unlivable inside.
The main issue that we've been having is people knowing that the letter comes and just
Yeah.
ignoring it. And it goes back and it goes back and it goes back, and we figured out that we don't have to wait till we know that it comes back. That the fact that we just sent it, and gave them the time frame.
Usually they do tape them.
And I think that's why you continue the process we're doing, being aggressive and put a date, and if they don't respond, you move on.
And so the city attorney's complaints are, they just sign it, post office signs it, it never was an attempt. They're finding that out, sometimes it's.
Most of these resolutions, they physically go out and post and tape on the doors, once we get to the part you guys have approved.
That's what we did for the one gentleman here tonight, we posted.
We have on all of
Because
these.
he was wandering too much.
That's something we probably just need to keep an eye on.
Yeah, it's gonna be awkward, that's all.
Yeah.
Just wanna alert you to that.
Yep.
It could be worse with the new reorganization.
Reorganization, okay.
I have nothing further, Mr. Mayor.
On executive session, roundtable. Todd?
Nothing.
Jeff? Lori?
Oh, I do. Hold on. Let me pull it
Hey.
up.
It better not be part of the committee reports.
It's not. So, I had a realtor that questioned me because apparently she got told that ordinance number 1689 is prohibiting her from putting her signs in the yard.
Only if they're too big.
The certain size,
Hold on,
yeah.
let me pull it up. But yeah, she got told that she has to start coming here and getting permission or something for her
Only if
realtor
they're
signs to be in
over
the
9
yard.
feet is it also?
9 square feet?
9 square feet. So it's only those great big signs like by Y-Rock, those great big ones.
Okay, well, ordinance number 1969 that I couldn't even find in the code book.
1960.
Cause that's
Yep.
the ordinance.
We haven't done 1969
Well,
yet.
this is the paperwork she got from a city employee when she was down here the other day in regards
We
to
just
her.
did 1920.
No, it's literally, I have a picture of it. It's ordinance 1689.
Oh, 1689.
16, sorry.
Okay, sorry. I was like,
Sorry,
shoot.
but I couldn't find that either in my code book.
Cause you
Well,
don't see the ordinance.
You don't see the ordinance, you see code. They take the ordinance and turn it into a code.
Okay,
Okay.
which is fine. But this says nothing about any measurements. I mean, I can read this thing to you. It doesn't say,
I can get you the ordinance where it's based off of. It is based on square footage and it's a sign permit is what they're talking about.
okay, so,
It's based on square footage of the sign.
Sounds like we need to do a better job of explaining.
possibly, because yeah, she got this from an employee down here. and then came and questioned me about it.
Okay, yeah, I can get that ordinance for you and or her.
Because if that's the case, and I'm not sticking up for this person, but I really hope like White Rock out there that has those plastic vinyl banner signs is getting this also, and anybody else
Yeah.
that has plastic banners up is
Right.
getting this also?
Right, if they, it depends on the square footage of the sign.
Now, does that include just on the city property right of way? What if you have a sign behind the sidewalk, then it's on your private property?
I don't think, I mean,
I
if you get a
would think it would
sign
just
on your
be
business
right away.
downtown in Marysville, you still gotta get a sign permit.
Well,
You
that,
own
and
it.
that's, yeah.
Well, and that's what this is, me reading this ordinance refers to.
Right.
Sign, awning, or marquee sign permits.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes into all the details of that.
Right.
Permit fees,
Right.
like, I'm a little confused.
So if they're attached to your building,
So you're talking about those that stick on the ground, those long,
No, I'm just talking about their normal little,
oh, the
No,
little ones, no.
For
The
sale.
little ones are not what anybody's talking about.
But if it's a, like, realtor sign that's,
That's
The
9
piece of
square
plywood
foot,
or
5 foot
3
by
by 3.
4 foot,
Yeah.
yes.
Like
Those-
out
those
by,
are considered
in
signs.
there one by Hardee's?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's big,
did they pay
Great
for
big ones.
permit for that sign?
Yes, they do now. They didn't get one before, but it was brought to our attention that it was too big, that it needed to have a sign permit. So that's where that came from. Sometimes it's not, it's complaint driven.
Okay.
Well,
I wish I had that much time.
yeah, I mean, I'm just saying that a lot of the stuff that we go after is complaint driven.
Okay.
But yeah, no, those little signs in the yard that say, as long as they're not in,
Okay, well, there was some confusion there.
yeah, no, the little ones don't count. That says for sale by, political signs are a little different.
Anything else?
Nope.
Keith? No?
No,
Kyle?
sir.
Parker?
No.
Lee?
No.
Kevin?
No.
Anything either? Motion adjourned?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?